It's time for the Trauma Center Second Opinion Review for the Wii. Now, I've heard this game is a remake of the DS title Trauma Center Under the Knife. However, since I've never played that game, this review will not have a comparison. For most of the game, you'll play as Dr. Styles, a new surgeon who's a bit on the aloof side. He wants to be a great doctor, but he never seems to get his stride in the beginning. In his missions, you'll perform different types of surgeries on people, like extracting tumors, suturing up victims, and other surgical procedures. You'll also get to play as Dr. Weaver, another surgeon. However, you'll play as Dr. Styles way more than Dr. Weaver. So come to find out, both doctors have an ability called the Healing Touch, which, what it looks like, is slowing down time, but to surrounding staff, looks like they're operating at very fast speeds. This ability comes in handy when time is not on your side, and it helps in defeating the antagonists in the game, a deadly virus which has no known cure. I was really looking forward to this game, but it was kind of a disappointment. The story is very engaging, and the execution of the game overall is great, but honestly, it just didn't keep my attention for very long. Now, that's not the only thing I found this game did poorly on. When operating in the beginning, and I mean the very beginning, your assistant will usually tell you what you need to do next in the order of procedures. However, she won't tell you all the time, and later in the game, you basically have to memorize almost every step in order to complete each mission. There are times where your assistant will tell you what to do next, but for the vast majority of the time, you basically have to rely on your memory from past operations and whatever would seem like the next most logical step. This gets really frustrating, especially when you're trying to beat the clock, but you don't want to screw things up, but the patient is dying in front of you, and so you try not to freak out, but then... yeah, I saw this screen a lot. One of the major factors of not being able to complete a mission is that anomalies will happen when you're on a mission. What I mean is, like, tumors will appear in a victim at an alarming rate, and so you try to get rid of them, but you're just too slow for how the game is programmed. And even with the Healing Touch ability, sometimes you'll still fail the mission. This game doesn't play around. You really have to be at the top of your game if you want to beat it. And it doesn't help when you can't remember what you're supposed to do next. Maybe I'm just not that good at this game, because it seems like no matter how hard I try, I usually end up getting a C ranking on the mission. Once in a while I'll see that glorious B ranking, but usually it's a C, and this is on easy mode. I don't really have any complaints with the graphics or controls. Both are done very well. I liked how the controls make it so that it feels like you're really using some of the tools. Like with the forceps, you have to press both A and B at the same time to grab something, or like with the defibrillator, you have to move forward with both the Wiimote and nunchuck and press the B and Z buttons at the same time to use it. The voice acting is very scarce and not really worth mentioning. There's a little bit, but each character only seems to say 2 to 3 phrases instead of full sentences.
Starting the operation.
I wish it was the other way around, because I think the story would have been more interesting to have the characters actually speak the dialogue. Most of the music is high-paced and energetic and is a good fit for the game's atmosphere. The biggest complaint I have with the game is something that is not really the fault of the programmers, and that is the game just doesn't keep my interest for very long. Bottom line, it can get boring quickly. It's odd, since I really like Trauma Team. I think it's just because there doesn't seem to be very much variety in missions. Sure, there are different types of surgery, but for the most part, it's the same thing over and over. Trauma Center Second Opinion is a fun game, but I think it only appeals to the right kind of people. I really like Trauma Team, but that game came out after this one and Trauma Center New Blood. But the point is, I think they added and or fixed the key problems this game has compared to Trauma Team, and that is variety, and the people in Trauma Team let you know, as the player, what to do next, even after it gets on your nerves because they keep telling you what to do on virtually every, if not every, mission. However, the game isn't bad, and does a nice job of what it's supposed to be. The graphics, controls, story, and music make it a fun game, and it's worth checking out if you'd like to play something unique. This game gets a 3.5 out of 5 with the title of Good. Oh yes, and Merry Christmas.